The 13th Amendment bans slavery with the exception of folks who are incarcerated.
Okay.
The 13th Amendment is what empowers the longevity in the process of slavery.
Slavery is abolished except if you've been found guilty of committing a crime. So if you've been found guilty of committing a felony, you no longer are an American citizen. You are now a slave.
And when you call the Department of Corrections, they will tell you in no uncertain terms, check your 13th Amendment. It's legal. You get convicted of a crime, then we can work you.
Prison is a business. It's a business.
Yes.
Whether it pays people or not, it is a booming business in this country.
Incarcerated people provide over $11 billion in services each year. And that is from working in plants, that's making furniture, lingerie, working in call centers. And they're working as garbage collectors. They work as clerks in the courthouse.
The city using laborers to clean the buildings. I see them at the fire department.
Fighting forest fires. They're doing landscaping on the highways, a lot of water treatment plants. They clean up parks and recs.
In the conditions with no heat, in the conditions in the summertime with no air. You know, I mean, the conditions were deplorable.
And the more you look, the more you see. They don't know our Braille translation services happen, our license plates, masterses for our public parks and for our higher education. All the paper products, an enormous amount of things. People really are unaware.
I see them walking around in the government center. Nobody supervising them. They got the striped suits on. They paint. They doing plumbing. They just, that's their job. Mm-hmm. Okay. But then when they get out, they can't come and wait for the city to get the same job.
People are not going to the factories because they got a new factory called a prison.
Prison slave labor runs Columbus. They had to lay off a whole bunch of workers in order to replace them with prison slave labor.
Certainly, folks are being employed unpaid to do jobs that other folks could be paid to do, right? Yes. And there are a lot of those jobs.
Mm-hmm. There'll be more jobs available on the outside for people that's not incarcerated, because if you got 100 people working from inside a prison, outside, that's 100 jobs that people that's free can have.
Cannot get that job.
Yeah.
When you go and apply for that job, they say we're not hiring. Why would they pay you $30 an hour when they can get somebody to do it for free? People don't understand. People say, oh, I support incarcerated people's labor, but what they're not understanding is that contributes to unemployment on the outside.
Right.
Myself, I've been in prison before. I was in the federal prison in Estelle, South Carolina, and I only made like $12 a month, but we built forklifts for the military.
And most of these jobs, if not all of them, when they get out, they cannot get jobs with those same positions.
So now you go and try to get employment from the same people who's employed you for free, and you can't work for them. And they say, well, I can't work for you because the state law says you can't work for me if you got a felony. So why doesn't that law apply when I'm incarcerated?
It's legal. This is Mayor Teresa Tomlinson. She said it's legal. And I said, just because it's legal, it doesn't make it right.
If people are working, they deserve to be compensated.
Mm-hmm.
And where you are living, whether by choice or by law, doesn't affect the fact that you are doing labor that deserves compensation.
Yes. Are you aware that there are some folks who have actually refused to work and get punished? They get their phone calls and visitation taken from them, or get thrown in solitary when they refuse to work.
That's what I was about to say. In the feds, if you don't work, you go to the hole. It's called a shoe.
So therefore, it's not optional. It's not volunteering.
No, it's mandatory.
So when you're made to work for free, that is slavery. Why is it so sensitive when we hear terms like slavery and don't correlate that with incarcerated people?
The first part comes with us not actually engaging in addressing what this country has done historically and currently, and so people are defensive.
Yeah.
The second part is I think people really don't know. People really have no idea how much labor is done in the state of Georgia through our correction systems.
They knew that you couldn't continue to call people slaves. They said, but people will accept if you call them a criminal.
Basically, it's convict leasing,
Right.
which is an old thing where they
Right.
basically say, hey, we talked to a construction worker. The construction worker going to give us $10,000 a month
Right.
if we send them 5 convicts.
Right.
They're going to pay us $10,000. We're going to make
Right.
the 5 convicts
Right.
go over there to work. The convicts ain't going to get paid, but we
Right.
just got paid $10,000.
Right.
You utilize them for years while you're in the institution. Again, you're good enough to utilize them while you're in institution. Those skills are great to assist while you're there. Do those
Make them
things,
money.
make money, push out the numbers you need so that the state looks great. Go out and give them the diplomas, assist them all. But then when you get home, you can't get employed.
Many of these towns, these townships, these little small Hickville locations would not have booming economies if Black bodies were not taken from the inner city and the bond money being moved from the inner city to these little small hick towns and building the prison and building a new high school and building a new housing and building the shopping plaza and building the economy.
The census helps you get parking lots. They help you get accessible, all these different things. And you're telling me you counted me in a county. That's why you see a lot of these prisons in these small, poor counties, rural counties, because that's how they make their money, off your speed tickets and off the prisons. And they're counting those 5,000 people as residents to say, hey, we need more handicapped parking spaces. We need a recreational center. We need this and we need that. You're counting these people.
They are counted, yep.
But they can't benefit from the fact that, you know, they're able to go to that same park that just got built off of their numbers with their kids.
Most of the time when there is refusal on banishing different systems or adding programs, money is the common driver. So what about the money is going on that they're so hard pressed to not let go of it?
They have stuff like that and they say, we need people at the Civic Center. We just had a flood. We need people to come clean this road up. We had this. Why are they not saying, we need to hire 15 people down here at the Civic Center. We need to pay 20 people to come and do this. Why are they not doing that, and why are they choosing to use incarcerated people?
Because it would cost them money instead of making, it would cost them money and not make them money.
And the goal is to make money.
And the goal has always been to make money. And also it's always to keep the city in a position of dominance.
Here in Columbus, I know trash went from 2 days to 1 day a couple years ago. And last year, the mayor was cited in an interview that he did with the news that the residents were complaining because trash had been backed up and folks were complaining why it wasn't being picked up. And they asked him what was the reason why the trash wasn't being picked up. And he said, well, we don't have enough prisoners, i.e. we got a shortage of slaves. And so I immediately felt like when you say we have a shortage of slaves, the result is we got to figure out what we have to do to get more slaves, to get out here to dump more of our trash.
When I went to the license plate making factory, what I was told was that folks who were chosen to work this job were chosen because they would be there for a long time. Now, if it's a training job, if it's intended for you to be able to transition to another job, then wouldn't you want folks for whom that transition is going to happen? Wouldn't you want as many folks to be helped as you could?
They should be able to just transition right on into that job, because obviously it's a job because they had them doing it. So why couldn't, if I'm doing it right now and I'm getting out in 6 months, why can't I just transition and that's my job when I get out?
It's making too much money for it to make sense right now.
And the criminal legal system itself is based on a
monetary
money
thing.
You know, the IRS, Waleisah, even has something on their website that makes a notation that just because a person is incarcerated does not exempt them from paying federal taxes, federal income taxes, if they qualify to pay them. And the Department of Education has a notice on their site that lets people know that they don't get an automatic deferment just because they're incarcerated and not making money from paying those student loan payments. So I want people to be full well aware that we have federal regulations that make sure we're still paying on things that we owe on, even while we're in carceral systems, slavery systems in the state that don't allow us to make money.
If you took away what the I hate this word, but what the inmates do inside of facilities, that would open up so many doors for so many community members who are without jobs.
Once you become a ward or of the state or the feds, there's no way for you to get reintroduced into society as a regular American citizen.
They can work you for free because you don't have the rights to defend yourself. You don't. That's why when you get out, you gotta get your right to vote back after a certain time. You gotta get your right to bear arms after a certain time, and that's if Georgia decides to give them to you. They don't come back automatically.
Voting rights, right? So some people say, oh, restoration of rights, but there's another step there, right? Why are you losing your rights at all?
The people who have lost everything because of incarceration are the people who are the most willing and able to commit to jobs when they come out. Those people can be committing to those jobs when they're inside.
The method doesn't match what's actually happening, right? If it were training, we should see the program focused on transition, but that's not what we're seeing.
This society had basically created mental health problems in our community.
The degree to which we criminalize and incarcerate folks, it really fuels the cycle of poverty in our state. You know, it really, really does. We are taking resources from people and putting them into a system that only makes things worse for those people and then everybody that those people, you know, is associated with.
We got to go deep into the DNA of this whole system because we cannot fix this system. We're to create our own system, and system still sharpens steel, system sharpens systems. So as we build our own system, that's going to be the primary thing. When they come out, they got to be a part of this system that we're creating.
In order to end mass incarceration, we have to have an employment component.
People being able to contribute to their communities and reap the rewards of that is how you build sustainable communities, period.
How can you prevent crime if you do not give people the tools and resources to be able to better themselves and come back to a contributing member of society?
And part of that resources is a job.
We have to create a post-incarceration reentry system that actually guides them into a trade or a profession.
To change the charter to allow someone with charges, that's part of it, to change the city ordinances and state laws to allow, you know, people with records to actually work for the government. I mean, they're already working.
They're already working for the government. They
So
just ain't getting paid.
why not have different amendments made to keep them working?
The more states we get who are willing to say out loud, we don't support slavery here, we are going to change it at the state level, the more push we get for the federal.
Common sense says this is why our crime rates are high, this is why our homelessness is high, this is why our communities are the way they are, because we're not giving people what they need to succeed. And when people don't have a job, you're going to continue to have high crime. And to actually train somebody to use somebody under the guise of saying it's for training, and then when they get out because they have a felony, they can't get a job.
It's
That's
its own
an excuse.
oxymoron.